Hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. For today's podcast episode, we are actually doing a spoiler review for Space Jam: A New Legacy. And with me, as always, is my co-host Charlie. Say hello to everybody.
Hello.
And this is actually going to be a spoiler review. And this is not the kind of review that we normally do. We don't normally bash things for the sake of bashing things at all. We don't bash certain movies. We don't call certain movies trash unless there's actually a reason to actually call a movie a certain piece of trash than what it is, and that is what we call Space Jam Legacy. Now, here's the thing. Before you guys actually start complaining and saying that we're being negative, I did go into this with an open mind. I did try to do that with this particular film. It's just that for me and everything, this film just doesn't work in its whole entire context, if you think about it. They got a bunch of Warner Brother properties and crammed it all into one film, trying to actually hide the mess that it actually is. I feel like this movie's also an identity crisis, where it's actually trying to find its own identity, and it just doesn't do that. It doesn't know who this movie is actually geared towards. Is it geared towards adults, or is it geared towards the kids? Because if you're trapped in the movie with your kids for close to 2 hours of this film, you need to have something to actually gear towards adults. So therefore, we have the Game of Thrones world. We have other worlds within this whole entire universe, aside from the Toons world that we know and love from the very first Space Jam movie. But let's go ahead and go into the plot points real quick. I'm just going to go ahead and give a brief detail of what this plot line is, and then we'll just go into it from there. So basically, it's about LeBron James. He's little, and what winds up happening is this. At the very beginning, we wind up seeing a young LeBron James sitting down on the bench playing a Game Boy game, and then his coach comes over and goes, "Hey, LeBron, what are you doing? You're supposed to be over there focused on your game." Next thing you know it, he comes up. He goes, oh, snap. He goes, "Oh, snap my butt. You need to go on ahead and get off the bench." So what does he do? He winds up missing a 3-point shot. Then we get into the whole entire opening scene. And so that's when this whole entire thing picks up, where it's supposed to be the introduction to this whole movie, like we got from Space Jam 1, where it actually feels like a Space Jam movie. It actually feels like a basketball type movie that we can actually get pumped for. This one, I didn't feel any excitement for it. I didn't feel this excitement for a Space Jam New Legacy like I did with Space Jam 1 at all. It does not feel like a Space Jam movie. Like I said, the very first one felt like a basketball movie. It actually felt like the theme song actually fit what it needed to do. It was in order for us to get hyped for the movie. But this one is all about, oh, look at me. Look at all the greatest things I've done as King James. Look at me slam dunking. Look at me going to different teams, being a one-man pony show and everything. And then it goes into the opening where he's talking negative about his son, about how his son needs to go and have focus in on being a basketball player when his son doesn't even want to be a basketball player. He wants to be into video games and designing his own video games. And that's pretty much where this whole entire thing picks up. So I'm going to go on ahead and let Charlie take the floor with some of the other stuff.
Before I continue, I want to warn everybody, this is a PG movie. However, some of us, probably me, are going to be dropping some F-bombs because, well, this movie made me rage. So I figured I want to mention that. And before everybody jumps on me like, oh, you're a hater. No, we reacted to this trailer. The trailer was garbage. It was so garbage, we decided to react to only the one trailer. Because if we reacted to the second trailer that came out, we would have spoiled the ending of the movie for you. Because, spoiler alert, the second trailer actually spoiled the ending of this movie, which the Toons win. Of course. But still, I just wanted to throw that out there. I hated this movie because the trailer looked trash. The trailer didn't look like trash. Trailer was trash. And the opening was terrible. Like, really, like, I agree with John. Like, the opening, I kept trying to, it's similar into the degree between Michael Jordan and that, but the LeBron one, it was like way longer than the other one is, and there's not a lot of Michael. There was not a lot of Michael in that opening credit scenes. It was a lot of the highlights, but it showed Michael Jordan being the team player that he is, not being the ball bitch that LeBron was. And like, here, I'm gonna dunk it myself. I'm gonna block. I'm gonna have the video of me shaking my hands. I'm in the draft, yeah. Or I'm sharing that terrible that terrible I'm taking my talents to South Beach ESPN travesty that was, and then I'm bringing it back to Cleveland because I failed there before, but I can do it again, and then I'm going to leave, join the Lakers, and then we win the title there and lose in the first round of the playoffs again. Like, yeah, like we don't need to see that. You don't need to keep stroking his ego because that's not the point of this movie. It's supposed to get people riled up. Oh, and the opening theme. If you love the opening theme from the original one about the Space Jam, getting ready to jam, this one was like a horrible remix that deserved to be back on the straight to DVD or straight to illegal stream record thing. Like, seriously, who came up with this? Like, it's like that and like whatever. But yeah, and then LeBron missing the shot was great. LeBron missing the shot because it's clutch LeBron. When you need him to make the shot the most, he misses. But yeah, the opening was terrible, and then him being named throughout the whole movie King James was really annoying. And everybody's calling, he's the king. Like, he's the king of jack shit. Exactly. No one asked
for a new Space Jam. Now, yeah. Here's the thing. I said this to Charlie before as well. I said back in the 90s, we had big, huge superstars when we look at basketball and other sports and everything during that time. If they wanted to do this movie maybe a year or two after Michael Jordan and wanted to focus on other sports, that would have been pretty cool to actually see, because we actually had big name stars. And even if they wanted to continue it off with like a football player, we had Emmitt Smith, we had Troy Aikman, we had Steve Young, we had Dan Marino, we had all those big names in the 1990s where you can actually do a Space Jam type of movie. And even if you wanted to go with the Boston Red Sox team or something like that for baseball, we had Nomar Garcia-Parra, you had Troy O'Leary, you had big name stars to actually cover that if you wanted to do this type of movie. With this one, you don't really have your go-to guy. Matter of fact, I think the most important thing here is I feel like Kobe Bryant would have actually been a better choice if he was alive, if they were able to give him a chance at that time. But I don't see I just don't see LeBron as that go-to person. He's a producer. That's why he moved to LA. That's why he went on ahead and wanted to be on the Lakers, so that way he can be closer to this project, that way he can have his thumbprints on this film so he can star in this film. So that's what happened with that. But here's the thing. Michael Jordan's a team player. We saw that, like Charlie said in the intro, where he's passing to Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen winds up making the layup and he winds up making the shot. That whole entire sequence is only a 3-minute and 43 montage of everything in Michael Jordan's career, and it's not centered on just him on the highlights that he's done, but on the playing side of things. And also, too, it also sets up with him retiring and going into the baseball realm of stuff, even though he wasn't a great baseball athlete or anything like that. But it's still brought into that whole entire aspect of the whole entire plot line where the Toons are actually looking for him versus LeBron looking for the Toons to help him save his son from what's that realm called? I forgot. Because
either Warnerverse or Serververse. If you're wondering, does that sound familiar? It does. They took a shot at Snyderverse, and that's what pissed me off even more. And we'll get into that in a sec. But yeah, this was a 25 years since the first one came out. Nobody asked for a damn sequel for this. LeBron wanted to do is just to one up Jordan because that, and then like this what was the point of this? Like, it's like the fact that Warner Brothers was so stricken with all their properties all around, like that. What is this movie trying to be? What is it? Like, it's like, is it for adults? Is it for kids? Because if it's for adults, I'm an adult, and all the moments that they seen, they're ruining iconic movies by putting in the loose ends, and it didn't work.
Exactly. But also, too, like I said, if this was geared towards kids, why do we have Clockwork Orange in there? Why do we have It in there? Why do we have rated R type movies, even a mature content movie show like Game of Thrones in this? No kid is going to go sit through a Game of Thrones TV show that's MA for nudity and everything else that it has in there, and also violence and stuff like that, unless the parents just don't care about what their kid watches. But I understand, you want to actually have something in there for the adults because you're in there with the kids, but you can put in some humor for the adults, not having to put in these rated R characters, because maybe the kids are like, ooh, what's that? Oh, that's Clockwork Orange. Oh, never mind. I can't watch that film because that's rated R. Then you also have an old Matrix joke and everything. And here's the thing. I've seen spoofs of Matrix stuff and stuff like that back in the early 2000s when the Matrix was actually popular. He's making pop culture references back in for the early 2000s, hoping that it would actually work in a 2021 world that we live in, and it just bombs. It winds up falling on the floor, where you can actually hear a sound of the pin drop. And it like the Granny Matrix. That's what I'm calling her. I'm calling Granny Matrix. She gets on the walker. She slowly. He goes, "Time is on my side," and then one of the characters, yeah, time is on her side, and then she gets up on the walker, does this little thing. And then, it's supposed to be a Matrix style thing and goes like that, like Neo. And it just doesn't work. If this was an early 2000s film, it would actually work and the spoof would actually work. And some people said, okay, this reminds you of an SNL skit. To me, this actually feels like an MTV spoof that's trying to be funny, but it's not funny and it's just falling and feeling.
Well, yeah, I mean, I hate the Matrix jokes because, like, what in the Matrix hell? Who rates that? Seriously, that was a horrible joke. The Granny doing that, and then LeBron doing, "She's the one." What the fuck? I'm sorry. Like I warned you, I'm dropping F-bombs on this. I was like, what? You're like, I grew. That was the first R-rated movie I watched. Was The Matrix. I loved that movie. I loved what it did. Were the sequels great? No, but they had moments that were good in it that were entertaining. Like the whole second half of The Matrix Reloaded, from like when Neo fights the 100 Mr. Smiths to the whole highway chase sequence, was probably one of the best action set pieces sequences they did. They did it themselves. The practical effects for that were great. And yeah, I get it, Warner Brothers. You're trying to promote The Matrix 4. Maybe show us a goddamn trailer for the new one. Let us know what we got, because I'm already hyped for The Matrix 4. What you did with the whole Matrix world, you're practically ruining it. Like, oh, Granny, we're gonna ruin that iconic sequence with Trinity, like the very first entrance of Trinity, and have a Granny do the kick and kick a guy for 4 walls. Seriously, and of course Speedy Gonzalez is gonna speed past bullets. He's a freaking rat that can run. Are you serious?
And then right.
Oh, my ombre, my hat is gone. And have LeBron try to dress up as Neo, trip and fall for some glass, and then come up fighting. Dude, you're a little bitch. Like, seriously, you flopped like you do on the court. You kidding me? Like, and then have Bugs Bunny dressed as Morpheus. What are you doing? The animation was horrible for that. And there's other ones I'll get into, but I'll let you go ahead, John.
Okay, so there's also another thing too. Is this the whole entire deal where now Bugs is going solo in this universe and everything too? And also too, let me just go on and say this, how they actually get zapped into this. Basically, Don Cheadle calls a meeting, which he's actually an algorithm. An algorithm goes on ahead, emails certain Warner Brothers executives, says, hey, look, this is a good idea to have this person to be a spokesman for this type of product and stuff like that. So they go on ahead, get LeBron in and everything. And then they're like, LeBron, we want you to go ahead and advertise our product and everything, which is this Warner Brothers 3000 type of thing, kind of like setting up a HBO Max kind of thing. But except for one thing, you're actually part of the movie rather than you just watching the movie, and then you wind up becoming the hero or the villain or whatever. So then once LG gets ticked off at them because LeBron says, no, this is just a 2-bit hack and everything, I'm not going to go ahead and do it, they wind up going into the server room. Next thing you know, he gets zapped into the server, and then we have that corny joke where he goes, oh my God, where are we? And his son's like, we're on the computer, Dad. Oh my God, I'm claustrophobic. Am I going to go ahead and choke or anything? Am I going to die? And then next thing you know, Don Cheadle comes up, rising in pixelation. And then that's when you wind up having the whole entire thing where Don Cheadle's like, well, I am LG. Is his name like LG? What's his name? Algorithm. Rhythm. Yeah.
Algorithm.
Yeah.
That's just lazy writing. I gotta quote Deadpool. That's just lazy writing. God, that's just lazy writing.
And yes, Ladassia, that is real. It's really bad. We're not exaggerating on it. Unless one of the stars is controversial, yeah. They could have had made an R-rated Space Jam. I don't really know if I want to see that, but
Anything could have been better than this trash.
True. Let's see here. Then we also had Taki Chan. Hey everyone, no one asked for Space Jam. Nope, no one asked for it. Then again, we don't really ask for any movie, to be honest with you. And do we really need a certain movie? No. But do we want to be entertained? Yes, that's the job of the movie. That's why we go. But I just feel like with this, with LG Rhythm, he goes on ahead, holds LeBron's son hostage, and then now you have LeBron getting kicked out of the server room and going into the Toons world, trying to recruit players for to save his son. So then we have just Bugs Bunny by himself because of the fact that whatever LG Rhythm ended up telling the other Toon squads, hey, look, there's actually a bigger and better world out there aside from what you guys did when you guys were with Michael Jordan. So they wind up going into other realms. And what I mean by other realms, you have the Harry Potter world in this. You have the Matrix world in this. You also have the Wizard of Oz. You also have Clockwork Orange. You also have other stuff that's part of the WB franchise. So therefore, they don't have to waste their time getting copyright stuff to their own properties because they're all in one cohesive universe and everything. So therefore they save some money with this, but at the same time the delivery failed. Then of course you see LeBron James in animated format, and then he winds up running into Bugs Bunny and the world. I mean, I know that they're trying to say that it's a very depressing world since everybody moved out and everything, but it seems very forced with the humor that Bugs is trying to do. But I do like the one shot though that Bugs does give to him. He goes, "So what brings you in here, Doc? Did you run out of teams?" That was the only good thing that I would actually say that's redeemable is that one little punch joke, and also to the announcers for the game were probably the two best things about the film. To be honest with you, what's that actor that we did a review for Bad Trip?
Lil Rel Howery.
Yeah, that was the only redeemable things about this movie is the sports announcers. That one little line that Bugs made, because I did chuckle a little bit because of the fact that Bugs does throw a little bit of shade at LeBron. That was the one. Those are the two things that I really liked about it. Mm-hmm. But go on. I'm gonna let you go on and take the floor now too.
I just want to point out the graphics for that Warner 3000s. It just looked like Fortnite. The graphics looked like Fortnite, yet the Fortnite game looks 10 times better than that trash. Like, I was watching, I'm like, really? Did you just copy Fortnite? Because that's what it looked like. And LeBron James, oh, that is absolute garbage. That is the worst decision you could do. No, LeBron, your worst decision was trying to do this movie. That was your worst decision. And then Dominic Jones, that just sounds wrong. That's so if you're wondering, yeah, LeBron's name is named Dom. Surprisingly, there was not that many family jokes. Surprisingly. Because I figured Warner Brother would be picking up on that, but then again, they're not too bright on this one, and they're like, they're pretty much like when they show the network of Warner Brothers. Oh, Warner Brothers logo here, boom, 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 boom. We got a poster of Aquaman in the background, boom, 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 boom. More Warner, more Warner. We're taking shots at Snyderverse because we can, and because F you fans, that's what we're doing because we're taking a shot. It's called the Serververse. Like really, Zack Snyder actually made something that the fans want. We didn't need this piece of trash. 25 years later, it's a little too late. Anyway, what in the Matrix hell? Really, that was a lame line. Early on, when you see LeBron wearing a headband, of course he's wearing a headband. He's got a reduced hairline. Of course he's wearing a headband. Like Don Cheadle, his character digitized. This looks really wonky. We're gonna play a little game called basketball. I'm like, really? You're trying to dumb down the audience like we don't know what basketball is? I'm pretty sure if 8-year-olds can play Call of Duty, I'm pretty sure they know what basketball is.
If they don't know what basketball is, I'm sure if they don't know what basketball is, I don't think they know what Clockwork Orange is.
No.
But I know I can guarantee you that they know who Pennywise is, and they know that they can't watch that film because it's rated R. Same thing with Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, pretty much. And then when LeBron gets transported, you see the different worlds. There's like Casablanca world, Matrix world, and they even have to throw in the music from the lobby shootout. I knew it because I that's one of the iconic scenes from the Matrix. I'm like, why are you ruining that? Game of Thrones world, and I'll get that in a sec. And then that joke, oh, what? I'm like, LeBron as a tune was very bad. The rest of the Looney Tunes looked a lot better than LeBron. LeBron looked so out of place, and he had to say, oh, I'm shorter than Kevin Hart. Dude, that joke's been old. Why
That
reusing
joke was
this
old since
movie?
2010. That's how old that joke is.
Yeah, it was annoying. And then in the 20, like we don't see Bugs Bunny till the 24 to 26 minutes into the movie. Like the movie's called Space Jam. You're supposed to have the Looney Tunes in it. There's been most of the movie actually wasn't involving the Looney Tunes. There was more algorithm and Dom than there was the Looney Tunes. And I said earlier on, LeBron, I just said he's just a douche. He's just known as a king the whole movie. Yeah, seriously. And then him dabbing, him doing the dab was the most like cringeworthy thing. And like him dabbing, like usually when you're dab, something's happening. So in a sense, it's called like from the Chappelle Show. It's when keeping it real, like when keeping it real goes wrong. When LeBron dabs. Well, then again, when the movie started, they tried to keep it real. That's when it went bad when it started. So, and this movie, it was it felt like 2 hours, felt like 2.5. It felt so overly long, and like that. Go ahead, John. You want to say something?
Well, here's another thing though too. I want to mention is this too. Dom actually has a game that isn't your normal typical basketball game that he makes because he's into video games. So you have that gamer kind of lifestyle that's geared towards a gamer and stuff like that. Something that I actually do respect on that level. And he makes a video game that's based off of style points, and then whenever you make a basket in, you also get points for that too. So it's like double or triple the points depending on the style points that you have, which will be played out later on in the film whenever they go ahead and start doing the basketball game though too, and everything. Even the way that they did the stadium and stuff like that was actually forced because there's no setup for practice or anything like that. It just shows how much LG is like OP in this film. And then also too, there was something else that I wanted to mention as far as things go inside this film is the fact that, and yes, I do have to agree with Ladacia, dapping is so 3 years ago. Like I said, he's making references, pop culture references to things that are 15 or 3 years older than what needs to be done. He's like the cool adult that's trying to be cool, but he's actually not cool. He's just a lame father that he plays in the film, sadly. But there was actually a point that I was trying to make, but I'm gonna go on ahead and let you take the floor while I go on ahead and think about that for a minute.
Yeah, you got it. So anyway, like I said, there's like that pun when LeBron meets Bugs because in the original Space Jam, Bugs needed Michael Jordan. That's why they had an idea to travel to the Earth to find Michael Jordan. LeBron just bumps into Bugs like, "Hey, I'm starting a basketball team. I need your help." And it's like, and then of course Bugs breaks the fourth wall of the original Space Jam. Then they try to do a spoof of Star Trek, and they had the iconic Star Trek music, which I didn't think was well.
Oh yeah, this is what I wanted to talk about. LeBron is like, we need to start a super crew. We need to like he's trying to form the Justice League, a basketball team. So he puts down. This is like if we were gonna go ahead and make our own basketball team with superheroes, like it's supposed to be relatable, but it's actually not relatable. He's like, okay, who do I want to have on my team? Okay, I know who. I want to have Batman on my team. So he puts that on there. Then he goes on ahead and goes, oh, I know another one. Let's go on ahead and put Iron Giant on my team. Let's go on ahead and have that. Meanwhile, you have Bugs that's in the background that knows how to put a team together. And it's like you can see Bugs trying to hide the team, hide Bugs Bunny and all the other Looney Tunes that was in the first one. So the way LeBron doesn't see what he's doing. So, because LeBron, to me, this is actually an indication of LeBron wants to run everything and be centered of the universe that he is, and everybody should just worship him. Like Wayne's World, we're not worthy. But no. So, I'm going to go. That's what I was trying to think of whenever my mind went blank that one time. So, go on ahead.
Then they have to go find the other Looney Tunes in these different worlds, and this is where the movie goes literally off the rails. If you think the movie has gone off the rails already, you probably, like I said, I thought the movie went off the rails since the credits started, but that's just me personally. When they went to the worlds is when they went. When they went into like an animated world or that, and you see Bugs Bunny as Batman and LeBron James as Robin. And I thought it was fitting because LeBron's always been number 2. He's been shit because Robin, yeah. So anyway, he's that, and then Daffy Duck is Superman or Super Duck. That was really lame. And then you see Superman and them show up, but
Well, with that though, that's actually a reference to those Happy Meals that I used to get back in the
Okay.
'90s and everything, because I used to have the Super Bugs thing,
Gotcha.
and then the Batman Daffy Duck or whatever. I
Okay.
think it was one of those, whatever. But I remember having that as Happy Meals. That was actually a nice little throwback for me to
Oh,
actually.
okay.
But yeah, I just remember having those. As a matter of fact, I still have some of those somewhere. But yeah, that's just a reference to that.
Um, so that was animated, and that was like it was not great looking, but it wasn't super bad. Don't worry, it gets worse. Then we go to Mad Max World, and hey, kiddies, do you know what Mad Max is? Well, you shouldn't, because that is a hard R rated that. And they go back to Mad Max Fury Road. And the sequence they show you looked like is actually from the movie. Then they just implemented like, okay, we're gonna do the real scene, but we'll just put animated in it. It's like, what? Did you seriously not learn your lesson from Tom and Jerry? That piece of shit of a movie, which is one of is this like liberal like Space Jam and Tom and Jerry right now. Once I get to the end of the review, are gonna be like my tied for worst movie of the year at 1 out of 10. That's how generous I was for these movies to give it ones. And but it was like it felt out of place. There was like explosions. Somebody was chained up. It was an anime that was chained up, and it's Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner are in Mad Max world. I'm like, did they get approval from George, like from the creator of George Miller?
Yeah,
Did they give
yeah.
permission to do this? Because this is not appropriate for kids. This is not the Mad Max Fury Road. Yeah, that is exactly what that with Daisy. That is too hardcore, and or with Dasha. Sorry, but yeah, it's too hardcore. And yet they're showing that the Looney Tunes in this world, it didn't. It didn't work. It didn't make sense. It just looked wonky. And of course, LeBron and Bugs, they looked like CGI versions of that. And LeBron looks normal in that. And I'm like, what? Whoever did the animation for this needs to get fired. They need to get fired, and they don't deserve to get picked up from another studio because it didn't fit. It didn't make sense. Because I don't want your kids to ask you, "Hey, what is this? This is Mad Max. Can I watch this?" No. And for the critics that gave like I said, this one on RogerEbert.com gave this a 3 out of 4, and she's a mom blogger, and she's written did a lot of reviews. I don't think she's credited for this. She should be doing be eligible to do these types of reviews. Saying this is a great kids movie and stuff. Really, really. But then again, I've said the quality for Roger Ebert's gone down for years now. But geez, like Mad Max, like you don't want to explain your kids Mad Max because the story of that is not kid friendly.
It's definitely not. Especially if you go ahead and watch our review for Mad Max, the one that I did with the movie critic from JoeBlow.com, and under the with James Ostner, you can tell that movie in its context is not a kids movie. It's not kids friendly. But going back, I'm going to piggyback off of what you said though, as far as the animation goes. For that, it's bulky. It's really, really bad animation mixed in with live action, and it just doesn't go together. It's like trying to mix Cool World in. That you remember that? If you guys don't know what Cool World is, it was basically this cool idea to actually have Brad Pitt in a animated kind of world where he gets zapped into this animated kind of world and of this comic book that this one creator is trying to make. And the animation style at that time looked pretty good and everything during that time, but now rewatching it, it's not that great. But that's what it looks like to me. If you're actually going to have to reference something, it kind of reminds me of Cool World because of how bulky the live action mixed in with the live action with the animation with the live action, it just doesn't work for me. It's just something about it that looks odd and looks kind of off. Yes, I get the fact that this is a kids movie and it's not geared towards adults in their 30s or even early 20s or anything like that either. But still, you're trying to gear this movie up towards the kids, and you can't sell something on a rated R type of film and everything either, where you actually have other properties, other Warner Brothers studios, and you're trying to incorporate those into a PG-13 realm. It just doesn't work. And you're also trying to do a misidentity. Pretty much, like I said at the very beginning, this is a misidentity of what they're trying to go for. They don't know their target audience, so therefore they want to cram all the Warner Brothers properties either to cover up the mess that they have or to try and get the adults to go ahead and look around and to be distracted while the kids are being entertained by LeBron and his son facing off in a basketball game.
Yeah. If you thought the Mad Max one was cringeworthy, that this next scene that they have to go find some people made me yell "What the f" like out loud when I was watching this movie. I could not believe they did it. We go to Austin Powers World. You know the Austin Powers movies, like the sexual innuendos. It's PG-13, but it's definitely not for kids. I love the Austin Power movies. They trashed this sequence by doing this next thing, and I'm gonna. It was they're introducing Mini Me. Y'all know Mini Me, Vern Troyer as the that. So anyway, I'm gonna ask the audience this real quick to see whoever's in the wild chat. Take a wild guess who they have as a Looney Tune character they have as Mr. Bigglesworth and Mini Me. I'll give you guys a few seconds to put in the chat. Take a wild guess for this, just to get you guys guessing before I reveal the answer. Okay, no, it's fine. I'll tell you.
It's pretty much the reaction that we had. Well, yeah, it's Elmer Fudd.
Sorry.
No. It's cool, man. I was the one who was interrupting, but I was just like, well, this reminds me of the time that we saw the movie and everything, and we saw crickets when we saw that whole entire thing where it's an Elmer Fudd was in that scene. So
yeah,
going ahead.
I yelled, "What the fuck!" I literally yelled that once I saw that sequence. I was like, "What?" I was like, just taken aback, like, really? And all right, I'm not gonna say it this time until if you guys want to answer in the chat. I said, guess who they has as Mr. Bigglesworth?
Crickets.
Exactly. Okay. Sylvester the cat was Mr. Bigglesworth, and OMG, that did not look right at all. It looks so bad, and it's irony because Mr. Bigglesworth didn't survive after the first Austin Powers movie. Come on, Warner Brothers, this is your own movie. He wasn't even in the second one. Hello. Note serious face. Like, seriously, like what? And like, you're ruining the Elmer Fudd one. Looks so wonky, so bad. It's been a long time since I yelled "What the fuck" while watching a movie in a bad way. And I watched that. I was like, "You got it." I was like, "Oh my god, what are you trying to do? You're trying to ruin these iconic movies for me." Luckily, they can't, because I can actually be entertained by that. This one, I can't be entertained for about like that. But yeah, I literally yelled that because I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" Elmer Fudd, it looked like somebody took a shit and put a baby in it. That's literally what it was. I mean, I'm sorry I warned you. I was going to be cursing on this because I had to, because this movie was like literally all over the place. And then, but yeah, that was what they had for the Austin Power sequence. Yeah, Sylvester the cat. Yeah, it looked so bad. It didn't even add up. It ruined the scene. They're trying to ruin these iconic moments for not just us, but fans of these movies of Warner Brothers. What they're doing, I'm like, what are they doing? The Casablanca one wasn't that great. It wasn't great either. It was pretty bad. But what do you take of that one, John?
Yeah. What kid is going to say, "Oh, Mom, that's a scene from Casablanca. I love that classic movie." No kid is going to know what Casablanca is. Unless you actually raise them right on Turner Classic Movies or somewhere along those lines where you're just like, "Hey, son, come over here. I want to show you a classic film like Casablanca." No one's going to know what Casablanca is. That's the thing, you know? So why would they go ahead and put Casablanca in there? Now the Wizard of Oz one made sense because kids know what Wizard of Oz is because of Wicked, because of those things. This does not absolutely make any sense at all, you know, because Casablanca is a classic film and stuff like that. And it's a black and white film and everything too, and it's iconic. But no kid is gonna, at age 6 or 7 years old, is gonna know what Casablanca is. My girlfriend's kid don't even know what Casablanca is.
Not even this generation isn't even gonna know what Casablanca. I've never seen Casablanca, but I know what it is. It's very iconic. Yeah, I personally haven't seen it with
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Is basically
yeah. Like, I mean, but yeah, we're not kidding, Tacky Chan. Like, literally, what? Yeah, no kid's gonna wonder what Casablanca is, and they did Casablanca. I'm like, if you did a Wizard Oz way, yeah, sure. But I don't think they even did Wizard. They just mentioned it. Oh, Wizard Oz World's here. The only sequence that I liked is only 5 seconds. was when LeBron's crossing off people because he can't get a super team, which is I was like, haha, bitch. You see Tasmanian Devil get chucked in to the spaceship, and then you see Rick and Morty again. Not for kids. Rick and Morty's not for kids, especially if you've seen this show and how like cynical and how crazy Rick Sanchez is. Rick Sanchez is like a crazy guy. He's done so much inappropriate stuff, so much really, really bad stuff. And you get Rick and Morty in this movie for 5 seconds. I love the lines like, haha, like we tried everything we could, but he's your problem now, dum-dums. Ha, see you later. Yeah, see you guys. Like, that was the best 5 seconds of this whole movie, was when Rick and Morty showed up, and they were just pretty much laughing at LeBron and all them. But again, Rick and Morty's not for kids. It's got so much mature content in Rick and Morty, yet kids are going to want, who's that? You could tell them, oh, it's Back to the Future, but then the kids are going to want to, wait, why isn't it Back to the Future animated? You're just barking up a whole, like, your body's cashing check, like your face is cashing checks that your body can't cash. Seriously, you're barking up the wrong tree here, Warner Brothers. And yeah, and it was just like this. That was the only good 5 seconds, and that was the only thing that looked good this whole movie in terms of animation. Rick and Morty, that was it.
Yeah, the Rick and Morty thing definitely made me laugh, taking shots at him, and then it goes back to algorithm, and basically he's trying to talk some sense into the kid and everything, trying to find some type of bonding level with LeBron's son, Dom, and he's like, well, if I was your son and everything, I would definitely be happy for you and everything. I would definitely support you if you were my son. You did a great job. You're only 12 years old and you designed this video game. And then he has this other little, what's his little sidekick name? I keep on forgetting.
Was it Pete?
Yeah, it was Pete. So he winds up telling Pete in code that they're going to steal his game, steal the code to the game and everything. And also, too, they're trying to make LeBron's son, Dom, really OP when it comes down to his avatar being the next big thing and everything, too, because now he can actually overpower LeBron in a basketball game now, because now he's now an avatar for that game, and he has all the powers that game has. So you have that, and then, of course, LG tries to go on ahead and be like a Steve Jobs with the whole entire turtleneck sweater, with the glasses and everything, and it just doesn't work. If that joke, here's the thing, if Steve Jobs was still around and he was still designing stuff, that joke might have landed. But Steve Jobs is no longer the head honcho of Apple. He's no longer the face of Apple anymore. So that joke just does not stick at all either. So therefore, for me, that's another thing that that I feel like it misses landing as far as that joke goes. And then, of course, once you get the Toon Squad and everything in there, you see, with Michael Jordan with Space Jam 1, he had time to actually practice with his team and stuff like that and get him on an even keel. With this one, LG winds up messing with the time clock on how many minutes he has until LeBron can actually make his team and start practicing with his team. And before you know it, it's like, okay, it's now time to start your team that you only knew for about 10 minutes of this whole entire deal. And that's whenever we get the whole entire stadium. That's where we have everybody just coming in, doing the live stream, coming in from different parts of the different universe, and even on Earth, though, too. We have them coming in. And there is a little Easter egg to the very first Space Jam. You actually have one of the little slugs from the Monstars inside this film, which was a nice little tip, but did we really need to have it? Not really. But still, you have that little tidbit in there, and then of course you have the two announcers that's in there, and that's it. Go on ahead.
Yeah. Some other worlds that definitely looked bad. The Game of Thrones one was bad. You had Rooster Cogburn, the rooster, on a dragon. Animated toon on a real good looking dragon. That made that whole scene that whole sequence unbelievable. Like, seriously, it doesn't look right. And then oh, Game of Thrones, Daddy, what's that dragon? That's from Game of Thrones. What's Game of Thrones? You're in no-win territory right there. Game of Thrones is mature. I haven't finished the show, but I've seen a good majority of it, and no, there's so much bad stuff for kids in this. Like sex scenes, practically every scene. There's incest. There's dragons. There's killing. There's zombies. There's beheadings. People die at a red wedding. They get betrayed at a wedding. Well, yeah, and this, I could go on. This is bad. This is not for kids. This is HBO, like Sopranos style, like cursing like crazy. So much like bad stuff. It's violent, medieval, like all that good stuff. Exactly. Not for kids at all. And yet you have an iconic rooster on a dragon. What the WTF? Seriously. What were you trying to do with this? And then, again, that was bad. And I mentioned it before, the Matrix sequence. The only thing that was cool was the opening coding of the green, but that whole sequence was terrible. Like, the cops that pretty much, they just wanted to, like, the Warner Brothers had no faith in this movie. And they wanted to, like, hey, let's get people interested. And obviously, I mean, look, I mean, I gotta mention it. Yeah, it beat Black Widow this week and making $31.7 million. That's, you should call that a win if you, it depends on where you want to call that a win. I don't, when you have a bid budget of $150 million, that's probably not including the marketing, because they've been marketing the heck out of this. It's at least $200 million. Do I think it's going to make, like, it's going to get to $300 million? Me seeing this movie, I'm like, yeah, pretty much. It is a vanity project. Do I think it's going to make $300 million? No, I don't, and I hope it doesn't, because they don't need to keep rewarding this. Nobody should be rewarding this.
Right. Another thing I want to mention is this, though. Yes, it has references to other properties. That you have the mask in there. You have it. You have
Shark Tale.
Shark Tale in this. I think there's even a reference to Jaws at some point in this as well. I'm not 100% sure on that. Don't quote me on that. But there's so much stuff in here that's like nostalgia factor. And don't get me wrong, I like nostalgia, but I don't like nostalgia for the sake of nostalgia. I like it if it's actually going to move the plot along and stuff like that. And not only that, but you don't even have Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise in this. This is like great value Pennywise. This is like a Pennywise that you get out of a costume shop, out of a Halloween shop, and then put it on and be a cosplay, and there you go. Now you're in a Space Jam. That's what it looks like to me. None of the costumes actually feels like authentic at all. Even whenever you look at the Game of Thrones Ice King that's in this as well, it looks plastic. It looks cheap.
Saving money, that's what they're trying to do.
Yeah. No, you're good. And then also then you also have LeBron's family that just winds up zapping in there, but just because of the fact during the live stream, LG goes on ahead, zaps them into the world, and then that's how all the normal people actually come in. But there's a catch though now. If LeBron loses the basketball game, they're all going to be trapped into the server verse, and then the tunes are going to be deleted out of the server. So there's that danger segment of it. And then we finding out that this is not your typical basketball game. This is actually part of Dom's basketball world, where you have the style points and stuff like that. And this is actually the point where Looney Tunes can actually be loony at this and everything for a change, instead of having to play a regular basketball game and be themselves, rather than go ahead and hold some restrictions against themselves because of who they are. But LeBron is all about himself in this, if you look at it, because he's like, come on, guys, we got to pull together. We got to do this. And the tunes are just getting slaughtered. There's no momentum. There's nothing of it to encourage them at all. And even the part where we think that we might actually have a cameo by Michael Jordan, Sylvester comes out during the whole entire thing. He goes, guess what, guys? I was in the stands. I was looking around, and I finally found him. And then they do the whole entire announcement, and then here we go. We think we're going to get Michael Jordan. It's not. It's Michael B. Jordan. And he's eating popcorn. So, yeah. And then I also want to talk about the announcers and stuff like that on some of the jokes that they did, but I'm going to let you go on ahead and talk.
Right. I didn't think that was funny at all, Michael B. Jordan. And, like, some people are like, the audience, that probably crack people like, oh, snap. Like, they probably enjoyed it. I'm like, Sure. If you like that, if you want to, if you're on drugs, sure, you'll probably enjoy this a lot better than I did. But I mean, Don Cheadle, dude, Warner did you dirty. You need to stay in the MCU. Seriously, like, I mean, or do something else because they did you dirty with this. But going back to the whole Matrix thing, I just had a huge gripe when I saw that clip like before they released it. I was pissed. I'm like, really? You're ruining iconic movies for me, like iconic moments from movies, by putting the Looney Tunes in it, and it doesn't even work. And also when LeBron tripped and fell, like I said, like a little bitch through the glass, he comes up and guess what is in his holsters, kids? Yeah, you guessed it. The guns Neo used in the movie. The guns were in, like, the guns are in his holster. You can see them. That is not kids. Like, if you think that scene was all great for kids, you probably never even heard of The Matrix, which is one of the iconic movies, one of the top AFI is got inducted into AFI's top 100 movies like years ago because that movie's so iconic. It changed sci-fi. It's revolutionized the whole idea, and the movie is a classic. It helped continue the career of your famous Keanu Reeves, because Will Smith was supposed to be in this movie, but luckily he chose to do Wild Wild West, and I think we got a better movie for it with Keanu Reeves as Neo. I mean, if Keanu had not been in The Matrix, I don't think it was going to be as good, because Keanu would not be so iconic, like one of those A-lister guys, and it's just so down to earth. You have LaBitch, have him I portray Neo. Come on, like I was like that's what pisses me off. Like, you really don't give a crap that you have a new Matrix movie. Like, yeah, we get it. You got The Matrix. You own that. Maybe start promoting the new one, which comes out on December 22nd, which has got people hyped for it. I am personally hyped for it because I love The Matrix, and you got the characters I loved from the trilogy, and you're bringing them back for the fourth one. Yeah. Like, what are you trying to do? Trying to ruin my hype for it? Because nice try, Warner Brothers. I can do my own hype. You can't even do jack shit right now. So anyway, like, yeah, you ruined that. And then, like, the whole hype port about, like, I didn't care for that they have Lola Bunnies and Wonder Woman. I mean, come on. And we kind of had a feeling that was going to happen.
Yeah, basically with Lola trying out for Wonder Woman is just basically Lola's just trying to find her place and be accepted into a new world. And basically she does wind up becoming like an Amazonian and everything because she saved Bugs and LeBron. So therefore she's now worthy of being an Amazonian because of it. And then also too, we also have a rap battle between Porky Pig and LG. That's what I'm going to call him. I'm just going to call him LG. I don't care.
I don't give a shit. It's fine. Do whatever you want to do. It's all good.
And that's what Warner Brothers said. So why not?
God, that's just lazy writing.
Right. But Porky Pig becomes Notorious P.I.G. and everything and does a rap battle with LG and the other. And it's called the Goon Squad. So trying to make a reference to the very first Space Jam with rock stars. Rock stars, I think. But still, it just falls flat. No one's gonna know who the Notorious B.I.G. is unless you raise your kid on hip hop and stuff like that, and understand the hip hop culture of old school hip hop in the '90s with Tupac and stuff like that. No one's gonna understand what the Notorious P.I.G. is, or B.I.G. for that matter. And then, of course, after that winds up happening too, there's something else that I want to mention is the fact that you're not having what Dom does is he takes the normal players that he made and then turns them into an avatar of a shape of a snake, a spider, and also mixes fire with water, which doesn't even go together in the first place because they're opposites of each other. So that's contradictory to it and everything. It just doesn't make sense. I understand from a kid's perspective and everything because you're not thinking clearly as a kid when you're coming up with different characteristics for a certain video game. But still, it's
I can fill you in. Sorry, you want to continue? I was going to fill you in why he was water and fire.
Okay. Yeah, go on ahead.
it's Klay Thompson, and he's one of the Splash Brothers. And for Golden State, him and Steph Curry, because they nail threes like all the time. Clay's been injured a lot, but he's known he's known as the Splash Brothers. So I guess when he keeps making so many threes, he's fire. Again, this is the Reader's Digest version of trying to digest a piece of shit of a movie. I tried.
But you know what though, I know I said the announcers were the best thing. I still liked it when the dude that we did the review of Bad Trip. I like it whenever he was on there. He goes, "Man, I'm gonna tell you this. I was sitting down and I was getting ready to watch this game, and all of a sudden now I'm over here and I'm talking to you. I just can't believe I'm here right now. This is just unbelievable." And then he starts talking about LeBron. He goes, "Man, we're going to be okay. We got King James here. We're going to win this game." And then all of a sudden, they see the whole entire deal where it's not your average typical basketball game because of the style points. It goes, "Nope, we're screwed." And that's pretty much the thing that I laughed at and everything, was because of the fact that they were relying on this one person to turn this whole entire thing around, and then it's totally opposite of what they think it's going to be. And that's exactly what happens when you go from team to team being a one-man army and everything, and doing it that way on your own without your team's help. But I like the announcers. I thought the announcers were really good. What about you? What did you think about the announcers, though?
I was too distracted by the shitty movie. I didn't really. I mean, the announcers were okay. They didn't piss me off. But the constant reference to King James, we're fine with him, like that. I do want to mention earlier on, like there's been like as I mentioned, there's too much Dom and algorithm. I did like the one line algorithm says, talking like Dom's son is like, "Oh, my dad's like going to be is going to be the GOAT," and then he said, and then algorithm was like, "Yeah, the jury's still out on that one." I'm like, thank you. Stop sucking LeBron's dick. I'm sorry. Enough with this guy. He flops like crazy. He keeps getting all these calls. Everybody wants that. I'm like, dude, the guy can't even act. Sure, Michael Jordan can't act either. But dude, I would rather have Shaq than any of these than LeBron. Yeah, I said it. I'd rather have Shaq. Because Shaq can't act. Right. But he would probably make this movie so much better.
And here's the thing. I just want to talk about this real quick. Michael Jordan is not the best actor. He's not. He's a flatline actor. I'll even say that. I loved him because of my childhood and everything else whenever it comes down to the very first Space Jam movie and stuff like that. But he is not the greatest actor or anything like that either. But he did what he could do with what he had. But here's the thing. In the very first beginning of the intro, you actually have his passion for basketball and his love for his dad. And his dad is encouraging him to keep going rather than a coach yelling at him for doing something. And then you actually have that opening shot of Michael dribbling the ball and then trying to do a slam dunk. And then we have the Welcome to the Space Jam theme song. That's to get you hyped up for the movie and to make you excited to watch a basketball type of film with your family and everything as a family-friendly film. And with that, you don't get this with that. You don't get that whole entire thing of feeling passionate. And only that, but Michael Jordan was also cut from his team at an early age to where he wanted to keep going and everything. And then you also have that passion, that drive, and that move in the very first setup of the very first film to where you can care about Michael Jordan and everything. And Taki-chan, you said what you said. Then you said, at least the movie was good enough, though MJ wasn't nope, he wasn't the best actor, like I said. But the way that they set it up in the very first thing, you made us care about Michael Jordan. You cared about this journey that you're going to go on with Michael Jordan, and you care about the Toon Squad and everything too, because of the fact that they're endangered with these monsters, and you're not sure what's going to happen with them. So therefore, they have to elect Michael Jordan to come in and play with them, and you have that sensibility of a threat on the field. With this one, you don't really feel a threat at all. You just feel like that all these people came together. He's hunting this squad to try and save his son from being trapped inside the serververse, and that's it. That's all you have. I'm going to say the same thing, to be honest with you. I have a feeling Space Jam is a 0 out of 5 for you guys. I'm going to say 0 and 5 as well.
I mean, I can't. I always got to give something to something. But like, I think my lowest review was a 0.5 point out of like 10.
Well, if we were going off of style points, off of this. Let's do like a style points kind of thing, like we were doing like we were playing Dom's game.
Style points. No. Like, yeah. I mean, Tacky Chan, what do you mean by you said what you said? Was it because I said Shaq is a better actor?
No, I think it was the thing where you were sucking someone's.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
warned you I was going to be dropping, like, this is a PG review, but I'm going to drop because I'm furious that this movie happened. And I have every right because I'm pissed because they made this and yet people are celebrating. It's like giving it 10 out of 10s. Like, this is the best masterpiece, and this isn't.
Well, another thing too is I'm in some other groups and stuff like that. They're like, well, what did you guys expect out of this? It's not Space Jam 1 wasn't the best film. No, but I was expecting something on the level of where we could care about what LeBron is doing and give the motivation behind what he's doing to make us care about it, like we did with Michael Jordan's Space Jam. I wasn't expecting a masterpiece. I wasn't expecting a Oscar-winning performance or anything, but I wanted to go in this with an open mind and being entertained and wanted to be excited, but all I got was distracted by the other cameos from other Warner Brother projects of this giant mess of a film, and it just becomes a one-trick pony show and everything, to the point where I can't enjoy it. And I have to agree with Taki Chan. Only Sheep will give it a 10 out of 10. Warner Brothers paid them. And that's another thing, too. I don't know if you guys were here at the very beginning, but LeBron, the only reason why LeBron was even near Los Angeles and wanted to be traded to the Lakers so he could be a producer for this movie. So that way he could have his thumbprints on this film. And that's why he moved over to the Los Angeles Lakers. That's the only reason why he wanted to be traded there. And that was it.
And a super team.
Yep. And a super team that's not made out of Batman or anything like that. But, oh yeah, and also too, Space Ghost is in this movie too. Oh, yeah. I just want to mention that for a minute. Yeah, but go on ahead.
Yeah. Some earlier stuff, like I said, this is a ripoff of Ready Player One. Ready Player One, they had these characters, but it mattered to the story. It fit with the story. There's no point for this because of course you needed a crowd, but I mean other stuff too. When the tunes were practicing, that wasn't really practice, and the Granny makes a dunk, he goes game blouses. Like, really? Are you quoting Chappelle Show? Because that is absolutely not a kid's thing either. You quoted Chappelle Show. Come on. I said I mentioned there's too much focus on Dom and algorithm. God, that's lazy writing. I wasn't personally a huge fan of Space Jam 1, but I can appreciate what it did. It actually did stuff that it brought the Looney Tunes out in there. I mean, Michael Jordan only needed Wayne Knight and Bill Murray to win. LeBron needed Batman, Superman. What a wuss. I said I didn't even think the upgraded visuals were that great looking. This looked wonky, looked out of place. The crowd, I saw Scooby-Doo, a lot of Hanna-Barbera characters, which are kid-related, that's fine, but you had the Gremlins in there. You got Kong, Iron Giant, all of it just looked all over the place. And it kind of looked, I mean, you had the commentators there where they were great, but I think the way they're put into the world and how they're commentating, it looked kind of weird in terms of the whole scheme of what the game world looked like. It just didn't, that. LeBron arguing with a cartoon character. I hope you give me a tech. Really? Like, LeBron really had to say that? Like, come on. And then you had Pennywise. We mentioned that. We had White Walkers. They're definitely not for kids. You had Clockwork Orange people, Matrix characters. I think they had like characters from the movie The Nun, which is not the Hiller movie, but another iconic movie or whatever.
From the Conjuring franchise, yeah.
No, it was actually another movie called The Nuns. That wasn't The Conjuring, but I think there was Conjuring Nuns, but it was another nun movie called The Nuns, which was like I forgot what year it is, but I heard that's definitely not for kids. There could be both versions of The Nuns in there. I wasn't 100% sure, but I remember a lot of the reviews kept focusing in on this group called The Nuns, which was another movie. I forgot what year it came out, but they're probably both. I mean, heck, we're gonna put everybody in the background. Clockwork Orange, definitely not for kids. And then some of the game elements of it, like when you had Damian Lillard after he zoomed past and dunked. Oh, we're back to the bucket. really, really, it was really just cringeworthy. Again, the rap battle was cringeworthy. That was really bad. Oh, that's all, folks, and drops the mic. Before I go on, John, is there anything else you want to mention?
There's also a scene where LeBron is basically telling his son that LG is bad and that if they lose, that the tunes are going to be deleted and they're going to be stuck in it. LG's covering Dom's ears. He wants to say, "How dare you say that?" and everything. I would never say anything like that. And then walks off. And then of course you wind up finding how much of a douche that he actually is. And then of course that's when you wind up seeing Dom get treated like crap. And then that's when he gets traded back over to he winds up getting back traded over to the Toon Squad. And matter of fact, there's also a scene with Wile E. Coyote where now they're acting like Looney Tunes, and basically he gets zapped into the clone ball machine, and basically next thing you know, you see a bunch of Wile E. Coyotes going into the net, scoring a dozen points, so that way they can catch up, because it's like 1,000 and something points to like 60 points. Okay, I'm gonna let you go now.
It was about that. I mean, that was okay. I mean, it was all about style points, but I found it was like them being loony. It was that, and LeBron, I'm like, yeah, I'm part of it too. No, dude, you're just a poser. Like seriously, you're a poser in this world. The whole granny sequence, like she's the one I yelled boo at and guess what? In a PG movie, the F word was in this. The F word got bleeped out. You hear like algorithms like, what the fuck is going on? And you hear it bleeped. I'm like, you're not even supposed to say the F word in a PG movie. Like early on in the 30s and that. Yeah, there you can say that, but dropping the F bomb in this, and then the worst part was when Algorithm quoted the iconic line from Training Day. King Kong ain't got shit on me and all that stuff. I'm like, and then King Kong got up and I looked like he left, but that isn't a hard R movie. And yet you're gonna give Don Cheadle to quote Denzel in a PG movie? Come on. You're really that desperate. And like seriously, I would have preferred you to drop the mother effort line in this too. Seriously, might have made this movie a lot more entertaining and maybe made the rating better. But I was like, come on. Like when I heard him drop that line, I was like, what? Like you're just making me hate this more. And the movies are supposed to be enjoyable, not like a huge bashing sesh, but this movie deserved to. It's asking for it. It's begging for it. It's begging me to like completely take a crap on it and throw it back in Warner Brothers' face. That's what this is. And the quote about like a sheep like in this movie, I mean, the quote is Jean-Claude Van Damme in The Expendables 2. What are you, man or sheep? Man probably doesn't like this movie. Sheep like this movie. Like, I mean, I'm probably getting the quote out of the context. It was just like Jean-Claude Van Damme egging Stallone to beat the shit out of him. And honestly, that's what this movie's asking me to do, to beat the shit out of it. I mean, it's not a physical thing I can, but yeah. And the other thing too is when Algorithm's like, you know what, I'm jumping in there. When he comes into the big tune, he looked he looked like bad Wesley Snipes, like prison Wesley Snipes. I'm like, dude, seriously? You're talking shit this whole movie, and yet you look like the worst guy. LeBron looked better. Yeah, pretty much. Blind people will enjoy this more. I'm sorry.
But yeah, overall, this movie ends on a good note, but also too doesn't do anything for me. But the way it ends is, of course, they wind up winning. LeBron, yeah. Which, if you watch the trailer, it gets spoiled anyway. So therefore, we're not actually spoiling anything for you if you saw the second trailer to this. And then, of course, everybody gets zapped back into their normal universe and everything. Bugs Bunny looks like he's glitching, getting ready to die. And then, of course, he goes up into the sky. And then after that, you wind up, and I called it. Remember when I told you, Charlie? I said that basically it's going to be about LeBron learning from his mistakes, about trying to accept his son for his passions, which is going to an E3 gaming expo versus him going to a basketball camp. and embracing his son's passions, and that's exactly how it ends. It ends with him going to E23 or E3,
Whatever.
and going to that expo, and then of course, for some odd reason, his son doesn't want to let go of the basketball. He said, "Well, I might need to keep this and everything." So his son goes into that, and then of course, it ends with LeBron and Bugs Bunny, because Bugs Bunny didn't actually die. He said, "Well, I said before that tunes don't die and everything." So therefore, it's now Bugs saying, "So, can I sleep in your can I crash at your house for a couple of days so that way everybody will think I'm still dead?" And then he's like, "Sure, okay." So bunk beds, yeah. And then he goes, "Okay, I'm gonna have to tell everybody that that they can stay over." I'm like, "Wait, you just said can you stay for a couple of days, and then now you're saying that you're gonna go ahead and tell everybody that you're staying there?" So that is contradictory when it comes down to the writing style.
Yeah. Some other bad stuff is when algorithm is dunking on LeBron and like, ooh yeah, he's got poster eyes, and then of course the thing that stops the game and helps them win by cheating. They got to do LeBron's iconic step back, like double cut shoot, because that's what broke Dom's game to begin with. It was LeBron's cheat move, and I'm like, I'm surprised he didn't have the push off move, the iconic Dwayne Wade or everybody else move. Oh, I'm gonna brush up on you, and then I'm gonna shoot the basket so I can get the foul. Because yeah, that's right. I'm the ref's bitch. No, and yeah, and of course LeBron's move is the one that stops. It helps them win because of course you got to do that. You got to be that. I mean, it's just like, and then of course Don Cheadle's turned into a poster, literally posterized. What are you guys, 10? Like seriously, a monkey can do your job. Like a monkeys can write Shakespeare. Monkeys can do your job.
Okay, so but that being said, I think that we're gonna go ahead and do our rankings, which is gonna, I said 0 out of 5, but I'm just gonna go with a solid 1. What about you?
I'm doing out of 10. I gave this.
I'm doing 1 out of 5.
Oh, trying to figure out what to equal a 10% out of 5. Because in my personal rankings, I'm doing a 1 out of 10 because it's tied with Tom and Jerry as tied for the worst movie of 2021. I might have my first ever tie. Let me get a calculator real quick. I gotta do this real quick.
Okay, so basically, guys, if you have any more questions for us or anything like that inside the live chat while Charlie does that, let us know. I mean, if you have any questions as to any more about this movie, even though we spoiled all of it for you, if you have any questions, any doubts or anything like that, comment. But the good note equals it's finally over. I said, yeah, that's actually the good note.
To equal, yeah, okay. So to equal a 1 out of 10, which is like a 10% or that, I have to give it a 0.5 out of 5. Like I can't even give it a full point. Like to average that, I mean this movie is gonna be tied with Tom and Jerry because Tom and Jerry was just bad with bad acting all around and the animation. That this one, it was like, oh, was this gonna be in second place? No, this is tied with it. I don't like, and then a close second behind all of this is Outside the Wire. It's pretty sad when Outside the Wire is higher by half a point than this. Like, yeah, exactly. The good note equals it's finally over. Man, this felt like 2.5 hours. It felt so.
It really did. And some people are like, well, this is a 90-minute. No, dude, this is not a 90-minute movie. This is close to a 2-hour-long movie. And I even said this to Charlie before we started. I said, at least with Space Jam 1, it was only an hour and 30 or an hour and 40 minutes, which is actually perfect for someone that has kids because our attention span is like an attention span of a goldfish when you look at kids' attention spans. With doing it an hour and 55 minutes, that's too long of a film.
I do want to say this. Like, if you're going to see this in theaters, please don't. Like, I saw most, when I went to see Black Widow today, I saw a lot of people were going to Space Jam, and I'm like, watch it from home if you have HBO Max. Please do not spend money. Like, I've seen, I'm like, save your money. Like, if you really love this and you love your kids, fine, do it, but make that. But at the end, but when you're done, I'm surprised this is like before that. I was surprised Warner Brothers didn't put any Suicide Squad people in this because they've been promoting all the other motions. Maybe they actually have faith in that movie. What? They have faith in a movie? Oh heck yeah! I mean, like the early reactions for this are making it makes the Suicide Squad look like an Oscar movie compared to this one, and the Suicide Squad looks awesome. And people are loving the movie. They said it's so good they can't shoot. They have a hard time figuring out who their favorite character is. It's all over the board of who their favorite characters are, which means it's a good thing because obviously the people are actually loving what they do and they have a better director to do with this. I mean, I was really shocked they didn't have any Suicide Squad people in this one, even promoting everything else.
No, but we do have the classic Batman from like the 1960s with Adam West in it. We have the old school Batman, Batman and Robin, and Catwoman and stuff like that. But we no members of the Suicide Squad, which actually is surprising.
Yeah, I mean, if they were promoting stuff, I figured you would. I mean, because that movie's gonna make some bank. This,
right?
I don't know. I'm hoping not because they need to learn their lesson. Like nobody wanted this. 25 years too late. Like why?
Yep. Definitely late to the party.
Go back to your pot and come up with some other better ideas. John and I can come up with some better ideas. Like what John mentioned earlier. If you want to do a sequel to this, do a different sport. Try football. I mean, I hate the guy, but geez, you could do Tom Brady. I mean, honestly.
But here's the thing, though. That's like the only person that is actually a spot in the spotlight, like in the 90s. If you think about it, is Tom Brady is the only big name quarterback now that you have.
Yeah,
and like everything now, since Breeze retired, since you have other people now leaving, and Brady's the only one there. That's it. Kalen can't come up. Yes, I do believe Baby KK can actually come up with a better idea than that, though. Taki Chan, I definitely believe that.
The gorilla from Bad Trip can come up with better ideas than the people that did this movie. Like, I mean, if you like this movie, that's fine. You can enjoy it, but don't criticize us for not liking it just because we don't like LeBron. That's a part of it, but this movie is just, there's a lot of stuff that we can come up with to counteract. Like, oh, LeBron's terrible. Okay, animation sucks. It's all over the place. There's too many there's too many R-rated stuff in this. There's too much product placement. It's like if Michael Bay was like Michael Bay of Explosions is like Warner Brothers with this movie. It's obsessed with their properties because they have little faith in this. Yeah, we can come up with better ideas and we can come up with reasons why we did not like this movie. Not just because LeBron's a bitch and we don't like him and we didn't think he's just trying to do it to one up Michael Jordan. We have other reasons to say that this movie is not good. So I mean, if you're gonna enjoy it. If you have kids, it's fine. Watch it. I would recommend this. If you're gonna watch it, just watch it from home and save your money and go and watch other stuff. And maybe take your kids. There's gonna be probably other kid movies coming out soon that just save your money because it's. I mean, and maybe go support Marvel. Help them out because if this movie's beating out Marvel in a second weekend, something's clearly wrong right now. I mean, I don't know. That's just my final sense. I just if you're gonna watch it from home. Just don't waste your money on this, especially if you only go out to the theaters either once a month or once every 6 months. Don't spend your money on this. Even if your kids are clamoring for it, try to watch this at home where you can where you don't have to pay money, don't have to drive out there, don't have to go into the theater if you don't feel comfortable in the pandemic. Just watch this from home because there's clearly some other better movies out there that you can watch with kids that are just 10 times better than this piece of shit.
Okay, so guys, if you guys want to go ahead and do this for me, Taki Chan has her own YouTube channel. It's called Two Blur Girls. Go ahead, subscribe over to their channel. Tamika and Tamra does a fantastic job of their Loki after shows and stuff like that. Even though Loki's not on or anything like that right now, they do a fantastic job at just geeking out and just giving you a full synopsis on just geek culture, pop culture, stuff like that. So go ahead and make your way over to Two Blur Girls. Another thing too is Tamara's actually going to be on the air with me Thursday night, 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific Time, for us to do a review of Fear Street. So we're going to be reviewing all 3 Fear Street movies that dropped on Netflix. Another thing too is on Tuesday, I know I'm doing this out of sequence, but I wanted to give a big shout out to Tataki Chan and the things that they do at Tubular Girls podcast because of the things that they do there. But I also have ACS coming on with me on the 20th, doing a little bit of a different type of show. It's going to be a little more of a laid back segment. It's called Reminiscing with John, and basically what we do is we reminisce about our childhood, about things that we did in our childhood and watched in our childhood, and also maybe talk about the kind of cereal that we ate in our childhood as well. So it's more of a little bit more chilled, laid back kind of atmosphere. We're not going to review any type of movies. Think of it as like 2 friends talking on the phone, trying to catch up with each other and stuff like that. So think of it in that kind of context, because that's the kind of show that I wanted to try and bring out on Movie Lovers Tonight. So if you guys want to tune in for that, 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific Time for that.
Yep, I am. This movie should never have been made. Thank you, Brandy. I'm pissed.
And so another thing, guys, too, is if you guys want to show us some love here at Movie Lovers Unite, and just go ahead and head over to the GoFundMe page at www.gofundme.com/Movie Lovers Podcast. And then, of course, if you guys want an audio-only version of this show and many shows that we do here at Movie Lovers Tonight, you guys can get that wherever you guys get your podcast from. Of course, for all your entertainment needs and wants, just go on ahead and head over to movieloversunite.com. Of course, we also have a website now where we sell merch, and right now we have our Movie Lovers Unite's Mafia Talk shirts. These are our newer shirts. This is like an old throwback shirt now than what we have, but go over to bonfire.com/Movie Lovers Unite and go ahead and get yourself a shirt from us and show us some love over there. And then, of course, if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, you just go ahead, head over to Twitter at Movie Lovers Unit underneath the same name on stereo. And then, of course, you guys can follow me at Facebook at Movie Lovers TV Lovers Night over there underneath the same brand name on Instagram and on Pinterest as well. And if you're a sponsor or would like to get in touch with us, just go on ahead, email me at movieloversunite@gmail.com. And those are the places that you can reach us at. And I am going to be doing a show with Vernon Kelly soon on August 8th. We're going to be reviewing Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. We're going to be doing that on his channel. So go ahead. I'll post a link sometime soon where you can actually watch that live. So that's everywhere that you guys can go on ahead and follow us at and everything. It's been real. It's been fun. I can't wait to do this again. And thanks a lot, everybody inside the live chat, for keeping this active tonight. I do appreciate it. Thank you, Nadassia. Thank you, Tataki Chan. Thank you, Brandy. Thank you, everybody. And always until next time, have a good night and bye-bye. Thank you again.